Coming up on the latest edition of the Tiger Football Report, we'll be joined with the head coach of the Tigers, Rob Ambrose, as we break down the Tigers' most recent game against Villanova. Later in the show, we'll discuss how the Tigers are preparing for their final home game of the year when they take on the College of William & Mary on Senior Day. Get ready, the Tiger Football Report begins now. Hello, Tiger fans, and welcome back into the Towson Sports Network studios for another edition of the Tiger Football Report. No, I'm not Spiro Marikas. I'm Zach Maskavich, sitting in for Spiro Marikas, who is on assignment this week. Last week, the Tigers had a tough task of going into one of the top 10 teams in the country stadium at night when they traveled up to Villanova, Pennsylvania to battle the Wildcats. Despite jumping out to an early 7-0 lead, the Tigers were unable to hold on in a game that ended up being 42-14 as your final score. With that said, let's now welcome in our guest, the head coach of the Tigers, Rob Ambrose. And Coach, it's nice to be sitting on this side of the camera with you.
It's good to have you here.
Coach, as I mentioned, it was a close game throughout till that fourth quarter. It was 21-14 at the start of the fourth quarter, but things seemed to get away in the last couple minutes of the fourth.
Yeah, it was 21-14 going into the fourth quarter, and that being said, we threw an interception right before the half inside the red zone, which was it's unfortunate, yes. And it's unfortunate. Let's put it that way. And we woke them up. Obviously, walking down the field in 3 plays to score a touchdown against the top 10 team. Our guys were ready to play, and we played hard. But we ran out of juice at the end. Made a couple mistakes that we paid dearly for, and right now our margin for error is very slim.
Now, you guys came out and played really well right out of the gate, as you said. You guys held them to a 3-and-out. Delaire got a sack, and then you guys cap it off with a couple big plays and then a touchdown from Darius Victor. But what was it that made the team able to come out to such a hot start?
Well, I think that we understand who we are, and our kids are tighter. We don't have that many left that can still play, but the ones that can, they're in it. And we're a physical team. We've grown up a little bit through the season. I would say that if we would have played Villanova in week 2, would have not have been anywhere near close. We weren't there yet. But our guys have really grown and gelled, and I'm proud of them. I mean, they really fought their rear ends off, and I would like to see a different result. And if we could have a couple plays back, it probably would have been. But yeah, that's how it works, and they'll learn through this one too. As
you mentioned, that interception at the end of the first half. At halftime, I don't know what you said to the guys, but it seemed to work coming out in the third quarter. You guys dominated the time of possession in the third quarter. I think it was like 12 minutes to 3 or something like that. But what did you say to the guys at halftime, and what do you think they took away from it?
Well, we talked about what Villanova was supposed to be, and our guys are acutely aware of our injury situation, our depth situation, and what our record is. And all of a sudden, none of that mattered. And they realized that it's football, and it didn't really matter what their record was or their ranking, that we could play with them, and if we did our job and didn't screw up, offensively we're going to walk down the field, and defensively we went push them for 3-and-out. So we did a great job on third down on offense and did a great job on third down on defense. But once again, on defense, we didn't do that good on fourth down. So still a lot to work on, but our kids are they're focused. It's good.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned it there. When you did get them to third down, the defense was doing a great job of getting off the field. They held Nova to 3 of 9 on third down. But that's kind of been the opposite of the way it's been going the rest of the season. It seems like downs 1 through 3, the guys were great, and then third down, you guys would give up a first down. But you flipped the script there against Villanova.
Yeah, there's 2 words for the reason of that. John Robertson. He's a quarterback for Villanova and clearly one of the National Players of the Year candidates.
No question.
He's a talent, and I swear, we played the game last week, and I swear he's making somebody else miss right now. He's that good.
Yeah, what makes him so good? He doesn't seem like he doesn't have top end speed where he's going to break away. He doesn't seem incredibly shifty, but for whatever reason, he's just hard to tackle.
You don't get to see this because you don't get to see all the film. I get to see all the film. And what you see week in and week out is he is exactly that. He's incredibly balanced, great vision, and shifty. You never get a real good hit on him. You may tackle him, but to do so, you need to spider web his legs and tie him up because he's just incredibly hard to bring down, and he's got great strength and balance. And, you know, as a head coach, when you have a guy that's dynamic like that, that's a dual threat, you're constantly holding your breath when he runs.
Right.
You're afraid some big guy like John DeSere or Ryan Dallaire is going to kill him. And he never lets him get a shot on him. He's a talented young man. Another
thing that really jumps off, you know, you see his rush yards, his pass yards, but he's really smart when he has the football in his hands. Only 2 interceptions this year. That tells you right there that he's not forcing anything, and you know he'll throw the ball out of bounds if he has to.
Has a confidence in running their system that you don't see out of kids. You just don't. He knows it inside and out. He can run it on his own. I almost think that they just let him call his own plays. And even when he runs the ball like a smart runner. When he throws the ball, it's a smart player. And you usually don't have that combination in a dual threat kid. It's one of the reasons why he's one of the most respected offensive players in the country.
Now, getting back to you guys, after the game against Elon where you committed 9 penalties, I know in the post-game press conference after that game you were really unhappy with how the penalty situation was. Only 5 against Villanova, so you know the result of the game wasn't where you wanted it to be, but it had to make you happy that the guys were a little bit more disciplined and not drawing the laundry out on the field.
No, we had fought through the rust of a bye and worked our way through with a win, but they're focused on, they know that our room for error is really small right now, and if we want a chance to win ball games, we just can't do that. And the kids, it's important to them.
Now, when you watch the game against Villanova, I noticed they ran a lot of bubbles. They didn't try to beat you guys downfield too many times, but it just seemed like they were just chipping away. It'd be 5, 5, 5, and then before you know it, they're in the end zone.
No, their big plays were John Robertson extending the play. We had all 11 guys covered, having boxed in, playing good coverage defense, and there's nowhere to throw the ball. And all of a sudden he makes one guy miss and runs for 20 yards. And it's really hard to defend both aspects of his abilities. But we're getting better, and it's hard to see from the outside, but it's easy to see from the inside. And I have to see bigger than the game, bigger than the play, bigger than the week. But I like where we're going.
Well, the good news is you don't have to play him again until next year. With that said, it's time for our first break. We have to step aside, but when we come back, we'll break down some of the Tigers' individual performers from a week ago, and later in the show, we'll dive into this week's matchup with the Tribe of William and Mary. The Tiger Football Report will return right after this.
Virtual Wallet can help you be that person who's good with money. See what's free to spend, move money with a slide, save with a shake. Feel good about your decisions.
Brian Vickers, Aaron's sponsored driver. He doesn't just love racing, he lives it.
We got the paper! Woo!
His pit crew follows him everywhere. Oddly, so does his boss.
Right, sign that. Yeah!
And his passion for racing is rivaled only by his passion for errands.
No credit needed. I'll take it.
Woo!
Congrats.
Errands makes owning easy through lease ownership, so you can own the life you want.
You'll find it on the sidewalks of Little Italy and on the porches in Catonsville. You can see it when friends meet in Mount Vernon. It's pride. Pride in our city, pride in our people. That's why MedStar Health is building the most accessible healthcare system in the region to look after everyone from Lutherville to Locust Point. So no matter where you go, no matter who you are, you're never far from MedStar.
White Market's ice cream plant is based in Sunbury, Pennsylvania, and locally owned and operated. We've been making our ice cream for nearly 50 years. We create roughly 70 flavors of ice cream right now. We use local ingredients, especially our cream, which is from our milk plant. The cream is what gives our ice cream a rich and creamy texture. Now, together with our customers, we've created a product called Peanut Butter Indulgence, which will be coming out this summer. It's a peanut butter ice cream with sea salt caramel swirl and chocolate-covered pretzel. How could you go wrong with that? Personally, I love our ice cream. If you come to our house at any given time, you'll find at least 5 packets of ice cream in our freezer. Our kids grew up eating Wise quality ice cream, and now we get to treat our grandchildren to it. It's been a pleasure for me to be tasting ice cream for over 40 years for Wise Markets, and I'm loving every minute of it.
Welcome back to the Tiger Football Report. I'm Zach Maskavich, sitting in for your normal host, Spiro Marikas, who is on assignment this week. We're joined by the head coach of the Tiger football team, Rob Ambrose. Coach, this last week, senior defensive end Ryan Dallaire was back at it again. He's been now named to the Buck Buchanan Award, which for some of the people at home that don't know, that's given to the top defensive player at the FCS level. I know you already know that, but Ryan had another sack in that game against Villanova. And I know that in and out of my office all the time in the video room here, we have NFL scouts always talking about number 56. But for people that don't see him every day and don't deal with him every day, just tell us about what kind of player he is and just what kind of kid he is off the field.
Well, he's a great player, obviously. He's one that's highly respected by both coaches and players in the league. As a person, though, this is what gets me going, that he is incredibly hardworking. He's just a good human being.
Yeah.
And if he didn't have an ounce of skill in football, he would still be an incredibly successful person professionally. There's some different companies out there that's kind of waiting to hire him, but knowing they have to sit on hold because they're going to have to sit behind what the NFL decides to do with him.
Yeah.
He's a former AAU basketball player who decided football was cooler than basketball. I don't want to say anything about Coach Scary. He knows I love him, and I love our basketball guys, but enjoys the physicality of it and has grown as a player. Doesn't have that many years of experience, only played 2 years in high school, but talk about the leaps and bounds he's grown through the time he's been there, and even week to week. He's developed a degree of toughness that he didn't have before, and now he's a student of the game. The sky is truly the limit for him.
Anybody that watches your team can see that other teams are always game planning against him. He's seeing a lot of double teams, sometimes even a triple team or two. But what is it that teams, they're game planning for him, but they just can't seem to stop him?
No, there's the only people that really held him down a little bit might have been Elon, just because they weren't going to hold the ball long enough for him to even get close.
Right.
And if they did, they're the first team that I've ever seen triple team him. He's got a great first step. He's really tall and really long. He's strong, and he is a student. When he watches film, he watches the tackles. How do they set? How do they set on first down, second down, third down, run plays, pass plays? He visually dissects them, and then he sets them up during the game, realizing that the percentages of run versus pass to him in a way, is he going to go this way or that way? But when time comes, he's got a different speed, and he understands exactly how to get home when he needs to.
And a guy that's benefiting from him seeing those double teams and those occasional triple teams, Drew Cheripko. He just, as the games keep going on, it just seems like he's making more and more plays. And I know he's a guy that you have to be happy that he's finally coming to the forefront after being such a hard worker for all his time here.
He is. He's not the most athletic. He's not the strongest. He's not the fastest. He's not the quickest. And he would tell you that he's not as good of a student of the game as he wishes he could be. But gosh, does he work hard.
Yeah.
And when you look at him, you look at his stats, and you look at him, you're like, how did that guy do those stats? And he is one of the more focused, hardest work, loves his team, and will do anything. He will sell his body out for his brothers. And it's true, with Ryan's getting double teamed, something's got to give, and John Desir and Drew Cheripko have really stepped up and made a difference up front.
Now flip the script on the other side of the ball. Darius Victor, we talk about him week in and week out on this show. 26 carries, 165 yards, a touchdown. Could you imagine if this Darius Victor was running behind last year's offensive line along with a Terrence West? I don't know if anybody would have been able to stop the run.
Well, the good news is that he'll be running behind this offensive line that's bigger, stronger, and healthier in a couple months. And with the stats that he's got, he'd be the first one to stand here and tell you how proud he is of those guys.
Yeah.
For the few guys that are left on the offensive line that can still play, they're finding ways to get this done against a Villanova team that doesn't give up rushing yards. They just don't. So it's a combination of great strain and effort by our young guys and Darius' natural talent. But it's good to be able to have that in your pocket moving forward. It's a nice card to have up your sleeve.
Now, I know I asked you about this in the post-game press conference, but the offensive line, for as banged up as they've been and guys just getting thrown into different spots that they're not used to playing, they kept Connor off his back for the most part. He only got sacked twice, and then we just mentioned Victor's stats. So pretty good game for the young guys.
Against a very stout, statistically amazing defense that I don't think they knew what happened to him. And how is it that we walked in the house and moved the ball as well as we did? And give a lot of credit to the kids and the staff for putting our guys in position to be successful versus what they do. Like I said, it was good to see, proud to see these kids fight as hard as they fought. You know, I don't like the result at all. I can't stand losing. But if I can see bigger than the moment, I can see down the road a little bit, and feeling real good about that.
A guy that played also really well on the offensive side of the ball, Tanner Valley. He only had 2 catches, but they were 2 very big catches. One was on the first drive of the game, 21 yards. I don't know if you saw in the film, but I almost got taken out on that play. I was standing there filming around the sideline. Next thing I know, there's a bunch of 6'6" guys coming rolling at my feet, so that scared me a little bit. But then he comes back in the third quarter and catches that touchdown pass. Just, you know, tell me about Tanner a little bit and what made him successful against the Wildcats.
You know, Tanner's a guy who was brought here as a long snapper. Loves the game of football, wants to do anything he can to help, and ended up playing tight end and getting pretty good at it, overtaking somebody else. And proud of his efforts. And you know, he's not the fastest guy in the world. He's not the strongest guy in the world. He does have good hands, but what he really does is an understanding of the offense and what he can do within his physical abilities. And just like some of these other guys I mentioned, he really works hard. He really does. I'm proud of him.
Now, back to the defensive side of the ball. James Sims just continues to wrap up the tackle numbers. It's hard to believe when you watch him play that he's just a freshman. I know he's a redshirt freshman, but you know, this is still like his first real year in college football, game in and game out. I know that you have to be happy with the future that he has on the field. We actually had a conversation this week. Proud of what he's done to be able to get there. That the talent was there, but the size and being able to hold some weight was hard for him. And he's really holding on to that. He's holding on by a string, but he's holding on. And we talked about weight training, nutrition, and stuff for the future. And the question was, for all the tackles that you had, how many do you think you missed because you're just not quite there physically? And he gets a dirty little smirk on his face. He's like, I know, Coach, and it's one of these things you can see it coming. Oh, yeah, he's going to be a good ball player. Well, hopefully in the future, we aren't talking about missed tackles. We're talking about even more tackles being made. We have come up to another break. On the other side of this break, we'll break down the Tigers' matchup with the College of William & Mary. But before we go, let's take a look at this week's Tiger Tidbit presented by Under Armour. Did you know if the Tigers win their last 2 ball games, this senior class from 2011 and 2014 will break the school record for the most wins in a 4-year period. Current record is 34 wins from the class of 1986.
Virtual Wallet can help you be that person who's good with money. See what's free to spend, move money with a slide, save with a shake. Feel good about your decisions.
Brian Vickers, Aaron's sponsored driver. He doesn't just love racing, he lives it.
We got the paper! Woo!
His pit crew follows him everywhere. Oddly, so does his boss.
Red, sign that, sign that. Yeah!
And his passion for racing is rivaled only by his passion for errands.
No credit needed. I'll take it.
Woo! Woo!
Congrats.
Aaron's makes owning easy through lease ownership, so you can own the life you want.
You'll find it on the sidewalks of Little Italy and on the porches in Catonsville. You can see it when friends meet in Mount Vernon. It's pride. Pride in our city, pride in our people. That's why MedStar Health is building the most accessible healthcare system in the region to look after everyone from Lutherville to Locust Point. So no matter where you go, no matter who you are, you're never far from MedStar.
White Market's ice cream plant is based in Sunbury, Pennsylvania, and it's locally owned and operated. We've been making our ice cream for nearly 50 years. We create roughly 70 flavors of ice cream right now. We use local ingredients, especially our cream, which is from our milk plant. The cream is what gives our ice cream a rich and creamy texture. Now, together with our customers, we've created a product called Peanut Butter Indulgence, which will be coming out this summer. It's a peanut butter ice cream with sea salt caramel swirl, chocolate-covered pretzel. How could you go wrong with that? Personally, I love our ice cream. If you come to our house at any given time, you'll find at least 5 packets of ice cream in our freezer. Our kids grew up eating wise quality ice cream, and now we get to treat our grandchildren to it. It's been a pleasure for me to be tasting ice cream for over 40 years for Wise Markets, and I'm loving every minute of it.
Welcome back to the Tiger Football Report. I'm Zach Maskavich, as we mentioned earlier, filling in for the voice of the Tigers, Spiro Maurikas, and I'm joined by the head coach of the Tiger football team, Rob Ambrose. Coach, I know you know the last two times that the Tribe and the Tigers have gotten together, the games come down to the final ticks of the clock, and they actually looked very eerily familiar with how the play went down. 2012, it was the quarterback went across the line of scrimmage, the flag came out for it. In 2013, that didn't happen. The flag did not come out, I should say, but Jordan Love recovered and made a nice play on the ball to prevent Trey McBride from making that catch. But I know that this William & Mary team is probably tired of losing to Towson in the last couple seconds, and they're going to be extra hungry for this game.
Yeah, you know, when I took the job, I think in the history of it, we had never beaten them. And for the last couple of years, we've kind of had their number, whether it was here or there. They're looking at us a little bit like a wounded animal right now, maybe a chance licking their chops to get theirs back in, but no, laying down's really not part of the job here.
No, and you know, any coach will say the next game is always the most important game. But this game is going to be very important for them because they're still in the playoff hunt very much, and they're going to want to come in here and not only avenge those losses of the previous years, but keep building their playoff resume.
We are clearly an obstacle in their road to success, and you know, trying to duplicate what we did last year and make a run themselves. But we get to play them at home. It's senior day, and the mantra for the week has been seniors. That every athlete is going to be a senior at one time, and when you get to play that last game at home, you want your brothers to play their best game, so your best memory is that senior day. And there's been some good ones since I've been back here, and from the conversation in the locker room, I feel good about this one too.
As we mentioned, this senior class has seen a lot of wins in their time here at Towson. And you mentioned it, the brotherhood that football brings, and you said it, the mantra this week, playing for your brothers and going out there and giving it your all. You think it's hard to make the younger kids buy into that because they haven't matured enough to be the seniors yet? Yeah, they know that they need to play hard because it's the next game. They want to play hard for their seniors, but do you think they really understand it?
In general, it depends on the level of the individual's maturity and the relationship they have with the seniors. Because the senior class is so small, there is a deeper connection with those guys, that they look at a smaller number of guys at the top of the pyramid to focus on, and they see them at the end. And our seniors do a good job of loving the game of football and showing an example of what it's going to be like for these young kids towards the end of their career, and doing a good job mentoring. I think the guys that are going to play certainly understand how important this is to those seniors, and they're going to give it their all.
Now going back to William & Mary, a guy that's a senior over there that I know it feels like he's been here for at least 10 years, and that's Trey McBride.
Oh my God.
He's a great receiver. He's second in the conference in all-purpose yards, but here's another guy that's been around the block a lot, and you know his numbers aren't the best they've been in his career, but you know you always got a game plan for McBride.
He is. We were having this conversation about who is and might be the best wideout in the league, or has been the best wideout in the league. I agree with you. I feel like Trey McBride has been at William & Mary and playing football longer than I've been the head coach at Towson. And he's a great player. He's a better person. You know, getting to know him and talk to him, he's a really, really good kid. Represents that institution well on and off the field, and that's what you want to see from your all-star, and he truly is an all-star. He's an All-American.
Now, before the show, I always like to do a lot of research about the other team and figure out, look at the numbers and all that. One number that surprised me was their running back, Abdul Sabor, passed Darius Victor this past week as far as rush yards per game, and I think he has 5 more total yards than Darius does. I follow the CAA week in and week out, and that caught me by surprise. But I'm sure to a guy that watches the film a lot more detailed than I watch it, no surprise to you that he's having such a successful year.
No, you could see this coming. You know, they used him sparingly on and off for the last year, and he's been the main tailback. Although they have another guy to spell him, who is really, really talented too. So part of that also has to do with their offensive line. That those kids have grown up now. They're a much older offensive group, and their offensive statistics are bearing that. For the last couple of years, they've been having a hard time scoring points, and all of a sudden that doesn't seem to be the issue anymore. And good offensive line and a strong, solid, consistent tailback will get you that.
And when you look at their defense, how much of it remind you of your defense? They got a good secondary player in Eric Green, kind of like you have a Ty Smith. Their defensive end, Mike Riley, also on the Buck Buchanan watch list. You got Ryan Dallaire on there. Luke Rhodes, a very good freshman linebacker. You have a James Sims. So do you see a lot of those similarities, or do they all play a different brand of football?
No, it's not that far different. I really like their team defense. That they run to the football as good, if not better, than anybody else in the league. Their defensive end is, I love Ryan now. Boy, I'd like to see the two of them play on the same team, man. I wouldn't want to stand in the pocket as a quarterback. So, and Rhodes is everywhere. He truly is. He's everywhere. And they got a corner in Houston that he's really good too. So there's clearly a lot of all-conference players on that defense. For some reason, statistically, they're not as strong as they were a year ago. Maybe because of some injuries up front, but man-to-man, they're pretty good now.
Now, you obviously have a good relationship with Jimmy Laycock. I'm sure that Spiro would be remiss if I didn't remind everybody that he once recruited you to try to wear this gold and green color down in William & Mary, but you ended up choosing Towson. Obviously, he's one of the best coaches in CAA history, and you have immense respect for him.
Oh my gosh, yes. Just like Andy Talley, the day that Jimmy Laycock stops coaching, there is a big section and a seat and a microphone, National Hall of Fame for him. What he's done there over an extended period, decades, is unheard of in college football today. It just doesn't happen anymore. And he, like many others, have had opportunities to go somewhere else and go up the food chain a little bit, but decided to leave his mark in that town, and has done it the right way over and over again, and represented the College of William & Mary about as good as you could as a coach.
Now, hopefully the fans are coming out to represent Towson in this senior day. Fan attendance should be good. We got the gathering coming out beforehand, so it should be a good tailgating atmosphere.
I heard about this. I read about this thing.
It seems pretty cool.
That's exactly what I said. Like, if I didn't have to work the sideline, I would like to go do this. It sounds really cool.
That's exactly what I was thinking. If I didn't have to be down there filming it, I would like to go check out these food trucks. So fans, make sure you get out there and check it out. Also, it should be a pretty good day. 42 degrees, good football weather. I'm sure that the U will be rocking, and I know you love it when the student section is a rocking too.
Well, for the ones that stick around towards the end, if it's a win when we get to go sing the fight song, I just don't like wearing clothes, but I tend to strip at least one layer off and throw it up in the stands just to say thank you. Being a student here and remembering what it was like when nobody cared and we weren't good and we weren't competitive, and seeing these kids come out and support their school and having school spirit and real pride in the institution. Anything I can do to help facilitate that. I love those guys.
Well, there you have it, students. If you come out and stay to the end of the game, you might be able to catch one of Coach Ambrose's articles of clothing that he throws out into the stands. We have to take one final break, but we'll be back with more of the Tiger Football Report right after this.
You know how fast you were going?
Yeah, about 55.
Where are you headed at such an appropriate speed?
Across the country to enhance the nation's most reliable 4G LTE network. How's it working for you?
Better than ever. How'd you do it?
Added cell sites, increased capacity.
And your point is?
So you can download music, games, and directions for the road when you need them.
Who's this guy?
Oh, that's Charlie.
You ever put pepper spray on your burrito? I like it spicy, but not like, ooh, spicy.
You always like this?
You have no idea.
AT&T, the nation's most reliable 4G LTE network.
Mariner Finance is a consumer finance company, so we offer personal loans.
Mariner Finance is a great place to work. It's a great thing for anyone with the entrepreneurial spirit.
Everybody in every office has an opportunity to achieve and grow.
Be your own leader. Be a leader amongst the fellow coworkers in your office.
The training and development that we do at Mariner Finance is one-on-one. Someone who has been there, done it, experienced it.
There is no better feeling.
Learn with us.
Grow with us.
Run with us.
Brian Vickers, Aaron's sponsored driver. He doesn't just love racing, he lives it.
We got the paper! Woo!
His pit crew follows him everywhere. Oddly, so does his boss.
Red, sign that! Yeah!
And his passion for racing is rivaled only by his passion for errands.
No credit needed. I'll take it.
Woo! Woo!
Congrats.
Aaron's makes owning easy through lease ownership, so you can own the life you want.
Welcome back to the Tiger Football Report. Coach, thanks for joining us, and good luck against William & Mary.
Thank you, Zach, and we're going to need it.
Well, hopefully the Tigers get all the luck they need. As we have mentioned, the Tigers will be back home for their final time this season when they host the College of William & Mary for Senior Day on Saturday. Kickoff set for 3 o'clock p.m., so if you are coming to the game, be sure to get to your seats early. You might have to leave those food trucks a little bit early, as you will get to see the Tigers honor their seniors before the game. If for some reason you can't make it to the game, well, that's where we come in. You can hear it live and for free right here on the Towson Sports Network as Spiro Marikis and Ron Meehan bring you all of the action. Coverage starts on TowsonTigers.com at 2:30 and on CBS Sports Radio 1300 AM at 2:45. Remember, you can listen to the game live and for free wherever you are on your smartphone or tablet by visiting TowsonTigers.com on your browser. That's going to do it for this episode of the Tiger Football Report. For Rob Ambrose, I'm Zach Maskavich. Have a good weekend, and as always, go Tigers!